Have you ever had that moment where your life looks good on paper? The job, the home, the relationships, the accomplishments, but something still feels off. Not broken, not catastrophic, just off. If you know that feeling, then this episode is for you. I'm Corey Logaitis, keynote speaker, leadership strategist, and forthcoming author of the 5 Overwhelm Culprits. And today we're talking about a question that has come up in nearly every one of the interviews I've conducted for my book, every coaching session I've ever led, and every corporate keynote I've ever delivered. Why do I feel stuck even when nothing is technically wrong? Because this feeling isn't failure, it's a message. Let's talk about what it's trying to tell you. All right, let's talk about the weird feeling. For years, I had what I called the weird feeling. Nothing in my life was inherently bad. In fact, most people would have said I was successful. I had a SVP title, I had stability, I had responsibilities, I had a house with a white picket fence, I had a beautiful child. I had the life that I thought I was supposed to have. And yet, anytime I slowed down, even just for a moment, there was this quiet, persistent whisper inside of me saying, this isn't it. Not in a dramatic, burn your life down kind of way, but a subtle knowing that something wasn't aligned. Because everything looked good, but because everything looked good, I then judged myself for even feeling it. I told myself, Corey, you should be grateful. You work so hard for this. Maybe this is just adulthood. Like, this is what everybody deals with. Meanwhile, that whisper kept getting louder. And every woman, and honestly, every professional under pressure that I've interviewed has described their own version of that weird feeling. It's not a sign that your life is wrong. It's a sign when your life no longer matches who you're becoming. Want to know the number one reason high achievers feel stuck inside a life that looks good? Misalignment. Not failure, not lack of discipline, not lack of gratitude. It's simply misalignment. We build lives based on expectations, conditioning, what will keep the peace, what seems practical, what we think we should want, what makes sense to everybody else. And in the process, we completely disconnect from what it is that we actually want. And here's something that I've learned from interviewing leaders in crisis situations. When people lose clarity, they default into survival mode. Survival mode creates overwhelm, and overwhelm looks like stuckness. Not because the person is failing, but because their nervous system is overloaded. Misalignment leads to overwhelm, leads to that stuck feeling that you just can't explain. There are 5 signs I see over and over again when this happens. Number 1 is you feel off, even when everything is technically fine. This is one of the earliest signs of misalignment. I went through this myself. I even describe this experience in my book, which is coming out soon. It's that feeling where everything is fine on paper, but something in your gut, you're just like, I feel weird. That was the way I described it to my therapist. It was, I feel weird. Number 2, you're living on autopilot. You're going through the motions. You're not really feeling anything. I know for me, when I had told my therapist that I was feeling weird, I remember vividly being in a commute. I was commuting 20 hours a week to my career and just going through the motions and feeling like something was just off, that I should be doing something different, but everybody else was stuck in traffic with me, so who was I to want anything else? Which leads me to number 3. You constantly second guess yourself. So you're stuck in analysis paralysis. You're questioning every single decision. Because again, you see everybody else going through the motions and you're the only one, by your perception, feeling stuck and feeling that weirdness. So it has to be you. Right? Number 4 is you're exhausted even after you're resting, because misalignment is going to drain your nervous system faster than anything else. It's not necessarily always your schedule, contrary to popular belief. And number 5, you fantasize about big changes, but you have no clue what you want. Your inner self is trying to get your attention, but you haven't slowed down enough to even listen. These aren't personality flaws. They're simply clarity indicators. One of the most powerful clarity tools that I teach, it is a big one that's in my book, is reconnecting with the earlier version of you. Your inner child never goes away. He or she's still in here. They're curious, creative, honest, unfiltered, and deeply intuitive. So when you feel stuck, It's because the adult version of you has been performing, and the younger version of you is stuck inside there, tapping you on the shoulder saying, hey, we're off track. So here's a simple exercise. Ask yourself, if the 7-year-old version of me were sitting across from me right now, what would he or she say about my life? Not what would they say about your achievements, not what would he or she say about your aliveness. Every time I ask this question, whether it be with my clients or with myself, clarity starts to rise. And clarity doesn't arrive in one lightning bolt moment. It arrives in pieces. Here are 3 practical steps to begin. Number 1 is name the area that feels off. Is it off in your work? Is it in your relationships? Is it your health? Maybe your identity? Just name it. Like I knew for me, back when I was going through that commute, it really popped up a lot when I was driving all the time. I didn't want to be in that car and I felt weird about it, but everybody else around me was doing it. So it was really related to my commute and my career. Number 2, ask yourself, if nothing else mattered, what would I want? Remove practicality for just one moment and give your inner voice the room to speak. Start thinking about what you intuitively want to do, not what your partner, your boss, your family, your colleagues, what it is that they want. You want to just think for a second, give yourself that time and space to decide, what do you want? Number 3, take one micro action that brings you closer to alignment. And again, this does not have to be a complete life overhaul. You don't need to quit your job and go join a convent somewhere. I don't know. So it's not a 30-point plan. It's just one shift that feels more like you specifically. Because think about it, clarity is not a destination, it's a practice. We have to do it on a regular basis. Professionals struggle the most with clarity during crisis, whether that be personal or professional, and that's because uncertainty disrupts your identity. It really makes you question who you are. And here's what I teach in my enterprise keynote. You cannot lead a team, a family, or a company through crisis if you yourself are unclear internally. It's just not going to happen, because clarity creates grounded leadership, overall better decision making, emotional stability, and strategic thinking under pressure. So the weird feeling that you're having, it's not a problem. It's your inner leader waking up. If this resonated, it's because clarity is the foundation of everything. Your confidence, your energy, your boundaries, your leadership. And this is just the beginning of what I teach in my new book, The 5 Overwhelm Culprits: Strategies to Save Your Sanity Without Sacrificing Your Success. It's coming out on May 12th. And if you're navigating a season of change, or you've been feeling that quiet whisper that something needs to shift, no, you are not alone. You are not failing. You're evolving. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to take my Overwhelm Culprit quiz shared in the show notes. And make sure to subscribe, share this with someone else who feels off. And I'll see you on the next episode. See you next time.
Thanks for checking out The Next Step with Corey Lowe. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, subscribe, and leave a review. Together, we'll transform overwhelm into action, and we'll keep taking the next step towards confident leadership. See you next time.